Do not buy a house without a home inspection. You'll pay the price later on. Without further ado, let me introduce Matt. Matt is the owner of Forever Homes Inspection, right? And he does multiple jobs all over the Des Moines area, Des Moines Metro.
That's right.
So thanks for
Yeah.
coming.
Thanks for having me, Sebastian.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start with a couple of questions about your background. How does home inspection knock the door on your life?
Yeah, that's interesting. So I got started in my career back in Ohio, been probably about 15, 16 years ago. I was a transportation manager for a small trucking company, had some trucks and trailers that I managed. And I really enjoyed that. I got my bachelor's in logistics management, thought I'd be in that industry forever, and promptly left it and never went back. So good use of that, money. Kind of bounced around a little bit, and a company moved me out here into Des Moines in 2013 to manage a distribution terminal down in West Des Moines. And I was there for a few years managing that, and then I left there and went to a small construction company, and then most recently a heavy equipment dealership. I was the branch manager for this heavy equipment dealership, cranes and excavators, things like that. And I always had that entrepreneurial bug. I really wanted to do something.
The virus.
Yeah, exactly. I just didn't know what it was. And my wife finally said to me a few years ago, she goes, "Look, you got to do something or shut up about it." She's like, "You're always talking about it. You're always talking about wanting to work for yourself." She's like, "Find something and do it, or stop complaining." And I said, "Okay, yeah, that's fair. That's very fair."
Especially when it comes from your wife.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it was pointing out a failure of mine to take action, right? And so I started looking around at different industries, something that I could do on the side, because I knew that I couldn't just leave my full-time job and just start doing something immediately. I needed to pull the boat closer to shore first. And I found home inspections as an industry, started doing some research, found Iowa's very, very lax requirements, meaning there are none. There's no oversight, there's no licensing, there's no certification requirements. You can just hang your shingle and say, "I'm a home inspector." And that's not how I like to do things. So I spent several months doing research, figuring out how I would go about being a home inspector. I went and got certified through two different companies, one called ICA, the other one's called Internachi. Internachi is the largest home inspection certification company in the world. Very well recognized by everybody in the industry. So I went and got certified through both of those companies, and I started another home inspection business, not this one, called Hire Inspection Services, which doesn't really exist anymore. It's not really there. And started doing home inspections just on the side. And a couple of months into it, we were talking to the owner of this software company that does our reports, our home inspection reports. And he said, "Would you guys like a mentor in the industry?" Which is kind of hard to come by. And I said, to my wife and I said, "Yeah, absolutely. We'd love to get some mentoring and figure out how to do this even better." And they hooked us up with our business partners, Britt and Lance Kaufman out of Oklahoma. And a couple months into that, the four of us came up with the plan to bring the two companies together. So that's how we ended up with Forever Home Inspection. The four of us own it together and run it together, and we have the branch down in Tulsa and the branch here in Iowa.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How long did that take?
A shockingly short amount of time.
Really?
I mean, you're talking about from like conception to inception?
Well, no, probably. Okay, let's talk about
Or conception to implementation, I should say.
when did that guy approach you and said, "Would you like mentoring?"
Oh, that would have been 2020, late 2020. And we pulled the trigger early 2021.
Early 2021. So
couple
you
months.
started when it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was just a couple months, yeah.
That's
That's pretty quick.
So what's a home inspection?
What is a home inspection?
I don't even know what a home inspection is, and I'm already promoting it.
So a home inspection is a non-invasive look at the home. And when I say non-invasive, I'm not knocking holes in the wall. I'm not tearing up floor tiles or tearing down ceiling tiles. I'm not pulling things apart to look inside, right? So we do a little bit of that, and that will take a electrical panel cover off, or we'll take a furnace cover off, but I'm not going to go further. I'm not going to take things apart. So the reason that's important is a home inspector is going to come into a home and he's going to look around. He's going to should spend a decent amount of time looking around, testing outlets, testing fans, lights, opening doors, checking the guts of the home. We're going to look at the foundation. We're going to look at the subfloor in the basement as much as we can. If there's a crawl space, going down in the crawl space, looking at what's underneath there, looking at the plumbing. So we're looking at a lot of parts of the home that the buyer might not look at when he's just touring it, because when the majority of our home inspections are for residential purchases, right? Not necessarily for investors. So you have to put yourself in the shoes of a first-time home buyer, maybe a second-time home buyer or whatever. And they're looking at that home for the first time for, 30 minutes? That's all, that's all you get. You get a 30-minute tour of the home, and you're expected to make one of the largest decisions of your life based on a 30-minute tour.
Right.
And so you pay a guy like me to come in and spend an actual couple hours in the home, going through the nitty-gritty, going through the details that you don't get to see, going up in the attic and looking at all that. We look for safety and functionality. Is whatever it is I'm looking at, doing what it should be doing and doing it safely. Those are two big items that we look at.